The morning sunlight spilled into the small, modest bedroom like a truth that couldn't be hidden, pouring across the rumpled sheets and illuminating something that should have been impossible. Arlen Voss, a 35-year-old single father who spent most mornings rushing to get his daughter to school and himself to his mechanic job, jerked awake to a sight that stole the breath from his lungs. Standing by the window, wrapped loosely in his oversized gray shirt, was Seraphine, Hale, the CEO of Halecore Industries, one of the most powerful women in the city. Her bare feet touched his old wooden floor, her hair fell in soft waves over her shoulders, and her expression carried a mix of exhaustion and something heavier, something he couldn't read. Arlen's pulse hammered, confusion splintering through him, because this wasn't just unexpected, this was unimaginable. He didn't move. He didn't breathe. And then she looked at him with eyes that held secrets he wasn't ready for and said something that froze him completely. If you believe in the power of kindness and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel Light of Kindness. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. Arlen blinked. His voice caught somewhere between disbelief and the remnants of sleep. Only hours earlier, his world had been ordinary, worn, but familiar. He lived in a small two-room house in a quiet neighborhood where his 10-year-old daughter, Ivina, filled the corners with drawings and laughter. Life wasn't easy, but he'd built their world piece by piece since losing his wife to illness 5 years ago. Every cracked tile, every thrift store mug, every night spent fixing cars long after closing time was a testament to how fiercely he tried to give his daughter stability. And now, standing in the middle of the world he had fought so hard to keep steady, was a woman whose life existed in a completely different universe, her presence like a bright flame against the simplicity of his space. Seraphine spoke quietly, the morning light catching in her eyes as though even the sun was trying to understand the strange scene. She told him he had saved her life, her words landing in his chest like thunder. He didn't remember much, only a blur. Headlights swerving on the wet road last night, a woman stumbling near the edge of an underpass, the brakes screaming beneath his hands, and pure instinct making him pull over. He had helped her into his truck because she looked dazed and drenched, rainwater mixing with what he thought was shock. He didn't know her identity then, not in the dark of the storm. He only knew she needed help, and he couldn't leave anyone alone in that state. She admitted her phone was dead, her ankle injured, and panic clouding her judgment after an overwhelming day. She remembered him helping her inside, giving her dry clothes, offering her water, and insisting she rest. But somewhere between exhaustion and safety, she had fallen asleep on his couch. Arlen's daughter had insisted they move her to the spare bed because, Dad, she looks like she needs a soft place to land. Her small voice replayed in his mind, now like an echo from a dream. Everything after that became a quiet blur, one he hadn't expected to unravel into this confusing morning. Arlen pulled himself upright, trying to steady both his body and his thoughts. He watched Seraphine carefully, noting the way she held herself strong but tired, her shoulders weighted with more than the strain of last night. He apologized for the odd circumstances, but she shook her head gently, telling him he had nothing to apologize for. She explained that she had been under intense pressure for months, mergers, lawsuits, constant scrutiny from the media. The storm last night had been the breaking point. She admitted she had walked away from her driver just to breathe for a moment, but the weather overwhelmed her. She feared someone might take advantage of her vulnerability. Yet, instead she found the last thing she expected, kindness with no motive. As she spoke, Arlen saw something rare, humanity behind the polished exterior of the woman he had only ever seen on billboards and news interviews. He had always imagined CEOs as hardened stone, but here she was, barefoot in his shirt, looking fragile and real, almost relieved to be unmasked for once. When Ivina peeked into the doorway, still in pajamas with her hair sticking out wildly, Seraphine's face softened. The little girl asked if their guest wanted breakfast, proudly mentioning that her dad made the best scrambled eggs in the whole school district. The innocence of her offer made Seraphine laugh, a sound that filled the room with unexpected warmth. She accepted, sliding into one of Arlen's old dining chairs as though she belonged there, listening to Ivina chatter about school projects, art class, and how she wished more grown-ups smiled for no reason. Their journey wasn't perfect. There were critics, doubts, moments of fear, but there was also growth, grace, and the rebuilding of two broken lives into something solid. Seraphine used her influence to help protect their privacy. Arlen helped her rediscover the beauty of small moments, sunlit breakfasts, messy art projects, laughter that came from the heart rather than a camera's lens. Ivina grew close to her, often slipping her hand into Seraphine's without hesitation, trusting her as though she'd always belonged. Months later, on a clear day with blue skies stretching endlessly overhead, Arlen stood beside Seraphine at a community event. She helped organize one focused on helping single parents. He watched as she spoke passionately about dignity, compassion, and the importance of support systems. In that moment, he realized how far they had all come and how every twist of fate had led them to a place neither expected but both desperately needed. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Light Up Kindness. It truly helps the channel grow. Special request, please share what lesson you felt from this story in the comments. Your words inspire others. And there, beneath the soft glow of daylight and surrounded by people whose lives were quietly mending, Arlen finally understood that second chances didn't always arrive softly. Sometimes they came wrapped in unpredictability, invulnerability, and in the form of a woman wearing his old shirt, whispering the truth that changed everything. A truth that reminded him that kindness, even in its simplest form, could rewrite lives.